Well now, look how quickly Sweden's science fiction bookshop/bookstore sent this to me. This was mailed to me for only 2 days. Much faster when I order online from Sweden's academic bookshop or bookstore. So, thanks a lot, Sweden's science fiction bookshop/bookstore. Thanks a lot. And as I was saying, in only 2 days of waiting, it finally arrived. An old memory from a very long time ago, which I would like to revisit, so here it is. If there's anybody who remembers this for the Nintendo GameCube or the Wii, then hit me up in the comment section below. I can't wait to read this. I love it. I love this manga. When I first bought issue 1, I didn't have any high expectations. I thought this manga was going to be something like like Dragon Ball. Oh, here he is. Here's our main shonen pro-tycoon. He's all smiles and puppy eyes. He writes in. He beats the big bad evil. He saves the day. There's sunshines and rainbows and puppies. And that's it. Or at least that's what I wrongfully believed was going to be with the Twilight Princess manga or manga. But that's not how the story is at all. And I'm glad the creators gave me something else. Without going too much into spoilers, I love the way the writers writers, I presume, made Link into a how do I describe Link? A human? I don't know how else I should describe Link in the Twilight Princess manga, but I guess I'll describe Link as an actual flawed human, if I am describing this correctly. I mean, that is my interpretation of the story. I am very glad that the Twilight Princess manga is nothing like its predecessors. I cannot imagine reading this manga with an all ages rating, and I cannot imagine reading this manga with a mute Link that is identical to the games. No, in my opinion, the Twilight Princess manga is a little dark for an all ages rating. Link in the Twilight Princess game and in the manga is not a child or a preteen. He is, I believe, 17 or maybe 18 years old, maybe. Which is why I think it was a good idea to bump up the age rating of this book to T for teens. Giving this manga an all ages rating and making Link identical to the games would have been too formulaic, and I feel that would have just made the manga boring and uninteresting, in my opinion. Wait, lest there's a misquote or a misunderstanding going on here. I would like to say something about the games and the other mangas. To you all I say, don't worry, okay? I'm not downplaying the other Legend of Zelda mangas and the games. No pun intended. I'm not saying they're bad, I'm not saying that. I think the games and the mangas are good stories in their own respected right. Yeah, I myself played Twilight Princess on a Nintendo GameCube a super long time ago, so I have very fond memories of that game when I was in my mid or late teens. Yeah, a teenager myself. And when I read book 1 of the manga, I couldn't help but get Vietnam flashbacks to things that I remember a long time ago. So, no, I can assure you that there is no bad blood between me and the other Zelda camps on the internet. I promise. If this was up to me, then I would very much like all Zelda camps to be, seated at the same table, if you know what I mean. I mean, in my own subjective opinion, I don't like it when fan bases are divided, like the Sonic fan base. But without derailing too much, when it comes to my own subjective preference, I want to pick the Twilight Princess manga in my own subjective preference. The reason why I would like to pick the Twilight Princess manga over the game and over the other Zelda mangas is because, like I said, I like it how Link is more like a human. And also I hope this isn't a spoiler, but now that he's like a human, Link now has inner struggles, problems, a troubled past, a two-faced nature, and when I come to these pages and read them, oh man, it makes me emotional. And in my head I'm thinking, if the Twilight Princess manga was identical to the game from head to toe, from Link's mutism to the story, then the manga wouldn't have caused an emotional reaction within me. the author, Akira Himekawa, I'm sorry for butchering that, if they wanted to, they could have written Link like how he is in the Ocarina of Time manga. And my interpretation of Link in the Ocarina of Time manga is he kind of feels like Goku, in my opinion. But instead, in the Twilight Princess manga, they wrote Link this time like a person. By the way, remember when I brought up this manga's age rating? Yeah, that took me by surprise. They bumped up the age rating. In their previous Zelda manga adaptations, if memory serves me well, all the books had an all ages rating. But this time, the Twilight Princess manga is rated T for teens, and I am very glad. An all ages rating would have just ruined the story in my opinion. In my own subjective opinion, an all ages rating can be fitting if the protagonist is a child / preteen, but if the protagonist is in their teens, like how Link is in the Twilight Princess manga, then I think it would be very fitting to increase the age rating to T for teens. Now, I've sung the praises of this manga very much, but if there's anything that I dislike about my first impression of book 1, I was, in my opinion, disappointed to discover that the surprise reveal for Midna was actually ruined for me, or probably will ruin other people, in my opinion. As soon as you open up the book opens up by telling us about Hyrule's lore, a previous conflict, and so, but then at page 5, I think, the book shows you what Midna looks like. What? Why? I mean, if memory serves me well, wasn't Midna's appearance supposed to be revealed after you beat the game? I mean, that's how I remember it. Midna's appearance wasn't revealed to you until you beat the game, if, and only if, memory serves me well. By the way, putting aside the topic of personal subjective preferences and opinion, can I say something about the author of this manga, Akira Himekawa? Akira Himekawa technically doesn't exist because he is actually 2 women sharing the same pen name. Maybe that's why they didn't write Link like a typical shonen hero. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing, by the way. No, it's just my opinion. And like I said, I'm so glad that these 2 women wrote Link the way they did. I do not wish to spoil too much of the manga for you because today's listeners / viewers, I would like your opinion and experiences of the Twilight Princess manga to be yours and yours alone. And I am hoping that if they ever make an omnibus or a hardback collector's box of this or something, then I'm hoping they'll either censor Midna or push her backstory later on into later chapters or something. But again, this is just my subjective disagreement to the reveal of Midna early on. For you see, after I finished reading the Four Sword manga, there was an interview panel with Akira Himekawa and some other game devs, and one of the developers of the Twilight Princess game said to Himekawa something to the effect of, "I like how you 2 revealed Midna immediately." The developer said something like that. So yeah, even if that positive opinion came from one of the official game devs, I am humbly disagreeing with what the devs said to Akira Himekawa. I humbly disagree. And that's fine, like I said, I don't have any animosity or bad blood with people who think you feel differently. Okay, so we're reaching the end of this first impression, so I guess I'm going to play this off by saying that I hope I didn't make this into a too short or too long podvid. Like I said, this podvid isn't intended to be a full lengthy review, it's meant to be a first impression. And in my own subjective opinion, I am very impressed what these 2 women have written and invented, for the lack of a better term. Invented, I'm using. I mean, it was Nintendo that created The Legend of Zelda, as in the Zelda games, and Twilight Princess. I know that, but the Twilight Princess manga was written and drawn by the shared pen name of Akira Himekawa, so I feel it would be incorrect of me to say that these 2 women wrote and created Twilight Princess, which technically they didn't. They wrote and drew a manga based on its source material. But anyways, I don't mean to derail this and make this about what belongs to who or who deserves all the credit. As for my final verdict, to close off this first impression for book 1, I want to give it a 9 out of 10, and I strongly recommend this manga to anyone, not just for Zelda fans. Aside from me complaining about the early midnight reveal, I am very impressed with the Twilight Princess manga. Keep up the fantastic work, Akira Himekawa, the both of you. I would like to read more Zelda mangas with a teen rating, as long as that T for teen rating does not apply to young/toon Link, in my opinion. A Zelda manga with an all ages rating should only be reserved for young/toon Link, in my opinion.